Today we have a very special guest from Switzerland. Swiss Hodler is the founder of Bitcoinskiers and has been shorting fiat with Bitcoin since 2016. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge.
Thank you, Paula. Thanks for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to be here, spreading the Bitcoin gospel.
Well, I love your name. I like so many of your posts on X. But first I wanted to start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do in Switzerland.
All right. So first of all, this Swiss Hodler thing is for me. It's about passion and doing good for humanity. I'm just a simple man simplifying Bitcoin. That's my mission in this space. And because I think there's a huge gap. Normies and Bitcoiners, we speak somehow different languages. So I think there's a gap to close, and that's kind of the idea behind the Swiss Hodler. And I came out of the Bitcoin closet only this year publicly, so I've been hiding in the background and just orange pilling the friends and family. Not many friends left after orange pilling, so I had to go online to start harass more people with the Bitcoin message. But my background is basically, although I'm a Swiss hodler and living in Switzerland, I came here 16 years ago, and I'm originally from Finland, from Scandinavia, in the Nordics. So that's my original home country, and speaking Finnish is kind of a superpower because we have an extremely complex language. So learning German here wasn't that difficult after being able to speak Finnish. So yeah, that's my background. And professionally, I have been around 20 years plus in everything around data, IT projects, digital transformation. From developer to data architect to program manager, project manager, agile coach, product owner, product manager, all kinds of roles in different industries, and from big pharma to engineering, commodities trading, energy, actually a long stretch in financial services, in insurance and banking, about 10 years. So I think I know the legacy fiat system pretty well from that background. So that also helps a bit.
Well, I just have to give a shout out to all the Europeans. I mean, so many of you speak multiple languages, and you in particular, Finnish, German, English, and I'm sure possibly others.
Yeah, a
It's
few others as
wonderful
well. Yeah.
to see. Americans, we don't speak very many, and I'm from Africa. I did learn German. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, but not enough. So that's great. But I'm really interested with your background. What led you to Bitcoin? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
I heard it from friends back then. It was already before a few years earlier, before I started buying Bitcoin myself. Of course, like for many of us in the beginning, I mean, the smart ones, they grasped it immediately that this is going to change the world. For me, it was kind of, I got the surface, I would say, kind of understood enough to start 8 years ago, but not understand enough to avoid the mistakes that most of us do. So of course I had my shitcoin phase as well, and I was selling Bitcoin, taking profits to buy shitcoins. But many of us have done those mistakes. But let's say the last 4 years, the COVID was a big eye opener for me as well. So since then I have been just stacking. So and like as the T-shirt says, I don't have any shitcoins anymore. So Bitcoin only.
What led you? What was the biggest reason for giving up the altcoins?
Well, it's pretty simple because the only cryptocurrency out there that truly is decentralized is Bitcoin. Because all the others, they have some company or foundation or whatever management team behind, and that's how it goes. Like, I trust the protocol, you trust Vitalik, we are not the same. So
Yeah,
when it comes to Ethereum, for example.
yeah, that's very true. And I did interview Jeff Booth and yesterday Larry Lepard, and they both say the same thing. And I'm almost there. Just wonder if there is some other use for some coins, some technology use. But what Jeff Booth would say is it's on the wrong protocol. It's on the Fiat protocol, and right
Yeah,
there, it's going to
fully agree.
fail. Maybe
Yes.
not this cycle, but at some point.
Yeah, I agree. And of course the scarcity of Bitcoin also, that's a huge thing, because 21 million versus eternity or infinity. It's a big difference, right?
And it's also just a more simple way, right? When we spread ourselves too thin, trying to increase our wealth in the other arena, it can take away from focus.
Absolutely.
So you're in Switzerland, which is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. What is the Bitcoin adoption like there?
Bitcoin adoption in Switzerland is still, there's room for improvement, but I would say compared to many other countries, it's pretty okay, I would say. And Lugano is showing a great example. For example, the Plan B network there, they're doing a great job. And in Lugano, you have a lot of point of sales, a lot of merchants where you can pay using Bitcoin. But overall in Switzerland, I would say still using Bitcoins as a means of payment is not so widespread overall in the whole country. So there definitely is room for improvement. And we also have the crypto valley in Zug next to Zurich, which, I mean, it's let's be honest, it's a shitcoin valley, and they have Ethereums and Cardanos and all those altcoins there, and I think it's a bit of a trade-off, in a sense. I mean, of course, in a bigger picture, cryptocurrencies and so on, it could be worse, but I think the focus should be shifting towards Bitcoin also there. That's my wish, at least.
So you're also a skier, and you were founder of Bitcoinskiers. Does that mean you accept payment in Bitcoin, or it's almost like a meetup group?
The idea of Bitcoinskiers, it's actually it's a sister or brother club of Bitcoin runners. And the idea is that it's a borderless, permissionless global skiing club where everybody can join and participate. And the idea also is to arrange some challenges and maybe even meetups going forward. It's a new thing. I just set it up because I have a huge passion for skiing, and especially cross country skiing. The Nordic version, where you don't go up with the lift, but proof of work uphill.
I like
And
that.
and I have actually a background also in that sport. So I was a professional athlete on a national team level as a young man, and I quit around at age 22. Because I chose not to dope. So, yeah, because that back then it was pretty much the name of the game. If you want to close the gap, there's only one way. Yeah.
I hear you. I was a professional tennis player. I didn't, doping is not as important in tennis, but for those long distance sports, good on you. But what a wonderful sport, because that's one of the highest endurance sports in the world, right?
Yeah, I think it's after swimming the second in terms of muscle utilization in the activity. So it's really a whole body exercise. It's a great sport if you master the technique with the good equipment. It's a pure enjoyment.
So you've got the health aspect there, because when we talk to Bitcoiners, that's such a deep rabbit hole. Many Bitcoiners get healthier, then they take care of the money. So what was the main reason for you getting into Bitcoin? What attracted you? Did you see a problem with the fiat system?
Absolutely. If you think of the whole fiat system, I mean, this has been repeated, I think, countless times. But let's like Sailor said, how many hours does an average person work or days in their lives? I mean, it's a huge number, right? And so few still want to invest, let's say, 100 hours to even understand what money is, and what causes inflation and what happens to our purchasing powers, and the flaw in the whole system that central banks print money out of thin air, and it's kind of accepted goal that 2% per year inflation, basically stealing your purchasing power 2% every year, is widely accepted. So I find it very confusing that how come it's okay that one actor can just print money out of thin air. It's legal, and if I would do the same, I would be in the jail, and stealing the purchasing power at the same time, it's also fine. So it's definitely one of the key reasons why I'm so passionate about the whole Bitcoin, because it's the best store of value. Every single person who earns money through hard work should absolutely study Bitcoin, learn about it, and do some dollar cost averaging at least once.
Yes, that's a good place to start. I want to go back to the fact that you're in Switzerland, just because, being the wealthiest country, it seems like everybody's doing well there. I understand we want to put our money in something that goes up over time. So no matter where you are in the world or how you're doing, you want the value to go up. But I see that there's a less need for people doing very well sometimes. But yet you saw that early. Do you think that's one reason Swiss people don't see the need?
There's actually also working poor in Switzerland. That not all Swiss are wealthy, and thinking about the whole cost structure here, it's very high cost of living in Switzerland, and if you don't earn, let's say, more than average salary, it's not fun here. So definitely you need to earn a decent amount of money per year to make it worthwhile. But but in Switzerland, I think the whole banking system and the history traditions around banking, it's still kind of, because it's the old world. So many people still see Bitcoin as a scam, as a Ponzi, because they are so brainwashed into the traditional banking system. And many of them are still employed. Actually, there's a big number of Swiss people are still working for the banking industry. And Zurich, for example, it's basically the banking capital of Switzerland. So we have UBS, which now merged with, or actually the state bailed out Credit Suisse, used UBS as a proxy there, and the GDP of Switzerland and UBS balance sheet, if you compare those two, so the balance sheet of UBS is twice as big as the GDP of Switzerland. So we are playing with the fiat fire here. When the shit hits the fan with UBS, the whole country is at risk. So we are dealing with this kind of questions as well.
And is that a possibility I mean, don't you think they would not allow them to fail, just like the US? Too big to fail?
Well, if we have a global disaster in the financial services, we all know that the leveraging that has been happening around the world, it's multiple times the world economy. Basically, the size of the whole thing is massive, and when those dominoes start to fall, it's not gonna.
Yes, Bitcoin is definitely the safety rail. Like you said, shorting fiat because we don't know what's going to happen. So you said you went to Bitcoin Prague. What did you get out of that experience?
Wow, that's still gives me shivers because it was my first Bitcoin conference. I like I said, I was hiding hiding in the closet for a long time, and didn't go to any conferences, and also only some meetups here and there. But going to BTC Prague was also an eye opener for me in a very positive way, because once I entered it, I knew that Bitcoin is big and the whole topic is growing, and but still to see that all the energy there that was present in Prague, and the size of the event, the number of people there, it was really, it's like amazing experience, and also the Bitcoin ecosystem, and the community, the people there. It's like family without politics, family gathering without politics. That's kind of feeling that I got. It doesn't matter with whom you talk; they think alike, and there's immediately a connection there. So it was really an amazing experience, and I really made a lot of new connections there as well. I was actually in the first day I was watching the opening, the keynote, and I was thinking, like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, I'm total nobody, and I don't know anyone here, and why did I even came? And just gonna go back to hotel and hide there for the rest of the week, and then go home. But then actually, someone came to me and I said, "Are you the Swiss Hodler?" I said, "What the hell? How do you know me?" Like, I'm following you on X. Okay, wow, cool. And then it started, and more and more people actually came to me, like, "Hey, are you the Swiss Hodler? I like what you do." And like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah, it just kind of started from there. But yeah, definitely recommend to anybody in Europe or even the US to come to BTC Prague. It's a great event, and I'm actually planning to go to Lugano in October here in Switzerland, Plan B conference, and also considering the Amsterdam Bitcoin conference also in October, but still open. I couldn't make it to the Nashville one. Would have definitely been also an amazing experience, but yeah, maybe Las Vegas next year.
That would be wonderful. That's a beautiful story, and just kind of reminds me how nice it is to be around other Bitcoiners, because like you said, you were hiding for a while, and you obviously were doing that because there's not many people around you who see what you see.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going now? You said you orange pilled some family and friends, and the other ones just
Yeah.
accept you.
Yes, there are actually more and more friends waking up, and also family members. So it has succeeded in that sense, but there's still work to do.
Well, it starts with just getting out there, right? I mean, that's kind of why I started this podcast. I've been wanting to do that because I don't have really anyone to talk about Bitcoin. So I said, well, I'll just start this podcast and talk to people about Bitcoin. And I learn every time and I'm just going to keep going, even though it's not the most comfortable thing for me to do, and I'm not good with technology. But I think there's a message here, and you do have a really great message on X. What do you think the main message that people are attracted to with you?
What I've tried to do is like I said, to simplify Bitcoin, and also be approachable. I'm not trying to be the smartest guy in the room, but actually trying to really simplify the message. And the whole thing is because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder of a marketing agency where we also do data stuff for companies. But this whole marketing aspect, because that's what we need for spreading the word, right? And Bitcoin adoption only happens if we do more marketing around it, right? Spread the word, and that's why I'm also not only on X or Noster, because I think there's a huge potential, underutilized potential in spreading the Bitcoin gospel around the world on other platforms. So I'm also on LinkedIn, which I anyways have to use for my fiat business. So and that has been quite remarkable channel as well lately, because I found it after the BTC Prague. I found it the company page for Swiss Hodler on LinkedIn, and in a couple of months there's already like 2,400 followers on LinkedIn, which, on the high fiat platform, it's very difficult to grow the number of followers for a company page. But still, this shows me that there's interest in the Bitcoin topic, and there's a lot of underutilized potential there. And I'm also on Instagram with Swiss Hodler. But then again, this is totally different area, because it's all about beautiful pictures and beautiful people showing how great their life is. Still, I think whole Instagram is kind of feels like you're alone in the middle of a desert and you're shouting there at the wind. So, but actually, I'm thinking about giving it up. But let's see if it starts to accelerate a bit. But the point is, with the whole social media, that if all the Bitcoiners, I know the whole censorship, what is happening at the moment, the totalitarian approach to freedom of speech, and everybody is now going towards Noster more and more. But if we all go there and we just talk within each other, how do we then help the adoption?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah,
One at a time. We go there. Even
exactly.
for Bitcoiners, it takes time to get there, because so many people are used to having so many more followers, on X and other platforms.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I've done some research in my networks, and many people who are on, let's say, the legacy social media platforms are not on X. So it's also a very limited population there still. So this multi-channel approach for spreading this message is, I think it's necessary.
So, do you think that even though we're at a price of around 60,000 Bitcoin, do you think we're still early in the adoption phase? I mean, that's
Yeah.
people say, how can you buy one Bitcoin 60,000?
Yeah, that actually that question already is the answer, because if you think how many normie understands that there's 100 million satoshis in one Bitcoin, that you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin, right? So that information alone is groundbreaking for many. Wow, is it really that I don't have to buy the whole coin? Most of them don't have any idea that it's been divided to 100 million satoshis. So that's speaking of the whole simplification. We should focus on this kind of stuff not in highly complex, let's say, topics that Bitcoiners like to discuss, like whatever layers on top of the Bitcoin core, The normies, they have no idea. They don't care if it's what's the technology behind, I think the whole store of value approach here and hedge against inflation, those angles are that the ones that we should focus on. And instead of investing in Bitcoin, we should talk about saving in Bitcoin and the long-term game, that you don't buy Bitcoin to become rich soon, buy Bitcoin not to become poor slowly.
I love that. I started a channel more for beginner, intermediate, and that's important. I love that you say we need to simplify. So people come in because they see there's a problem in the system with inflation, or that their money is not going as far as it used to. Then they can use Bitcoin as a store of value and learn a little bit about self custody and the reason for that, to be outside of the bank. And after that, go further down the rabbit hole. Is there any other, and you mentioned inflation, is there any other simplification you could add?
What I really like what the Swiss Bitcoin only app Relay has done, this company here, and they have solved the problem in a let's say very very interesting way. By using the app, you can buy Bitcoin and you own the keys immediately. It's your wallet, goes directly to your wallet in the Bitcoin blockchain, and you kind of it's a non-custodial service, so you wouldn't even need a hardware wallet, physical hardware wallet, because you have the app on your phone, and that's it. But you can of course restore it with the hardware wallet. But it's the ease of use for beginners, and also the whole DCA process there. You can set up automated purchases and use the app for the whole thing, and also has a Lightning wallet integrated. You can do swaps, and so basically you have everything in one. And this kind of simplification also on the technical side of things we need to increase the adoption, because we can't expect that. John from the village goes and buys Bitcoin over the exchange, and then gets a hardware wallet and makes a transfer and stores the keys on a metal backup. It's still I would say for a normal person it's not a piece of cake.
No, it's not. And even just to explain, the Lightning Network is a layer 2 on top of the Bitcoin network that allows us to make payments for lower fees. What makes that Relay app safer than, say, a Coinbase wallet or any other wallet?
With Coinbase, right? Do you own your keys? I don't know Coinbase wallet because I never used it. So
you can, I think, with all of them. But I think what you're saying about that one is that it's just simple. It's got everything in one place.
Yeah, and you don't even need an email address to get started. So it's just you just install the app and transfer the funds and get started, and you have the keys immediately. So that's the thing. And of course, with the whole KYC topic there as well, it used to be also a non-KYC to up to a certain amount, but now because of the regulations all over the place are getting more strict. Also, Relay had to do the KYC mandatory, but that's the world we live in.
Do you use Bitcoin for payments, and do you see it one day becoming the payments rail?
I do use sometimes whenever it's accepted. I try to use Bitcoin for micropayments and buying stuff. So definitely, I ordered the Bitcoin runner shirt from Satoshi's store and paid it with Bitcoin, so over Lightning. So that was my recent Bitcoin purchase.
So we all do what we can, and
Yeah.
the adoption is going to go up and up. So we're coming to the end. Besides Bitcoin, what are you passionate about?
Skiing.
Skiing and Bitcoin. Love it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much that's it. Well, I only have 24 hours every day, so
How much of your time is spent in Bitcoin versus the other world?
currently I spend actually most of my time on Bitcoin. I'm kind of between projects. Also, I just finished a 9-month project at the Swiss bank, looking for my next gigs. So focusing at the moment on building the Swiss Hodler stuff and Bitcoin, and actually looking for a next project in the Bitcoin ecosystem if possible.
Okay, so you look to do marketing type projects in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah, that or anything with data.
Wonderful. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means to me that no one else is telling me what can I do and what can't I do. So that's pretty much.
Well, that's what we all want. Freedom, freedom to live the way we want to live, be who we want to be in a peaceful, honest, open protocol world. Thank you for joining us today, Swiss Hodler. You told us a little bit about where people can find you, but tell us again.
Yeah, the easiest way is through my website SwissHodler.com. Got all the handles there, all the links, and also the partners that I work with, the affiliate marketing that I do now with the multiple vendors in the Bitcoin space. So there's actually a lot of new stuff happening in that space all the time. And of course, the BitcoinSkiers.org is the other one. It's still under construction, but got to start from somewhere.
Great. And hopefully we'll see you at Bitcoin Vegas 2025 and on X.
Yes, at least on X. I'm hoping to be in Vegas as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.